Body. By and large, there should be no problems here. All steel elements are well galvanized, and the scarlet ones, in principle, are not subject to corrosion. However, over time, they can nevertheless corrode and even rust. The front fenders and hood are made of aluminum, thanks to which you can easily determine whether the car has been beaten. As you know, it is quite difficult and expensive to restore aluminum parts. Therefore, after an accident, most owners change them to cheaper steel counterparts. And here, which part is installed on the car, you can determine with the help of a magnet. If when inspecting a car under the hood, you find poor sealing of seams or micro cracks, this does not mean that the car was beaten. The fact is that on cars with diesel engines and powerful gasoline engines 4.2 liters, over time, from heavy loads, the connections of body panels become loose. Also, you should pay attention to the windshield frame. There may be the same problems, poor sealing and micro cracks. It is worth locating under the bottom of the car. Because of the small clearance, the spars and the rear floor panel often come into contact with the rod, therefore the anti-corrosion layer is damaged. It would seem that optics can cause problems, but in the case of Audi A6 C6, they can be quite large. Tailgates often fog up, and an additional rear stop may stop working altogether. The problem is eliminated by cleaning and bending the contacts of the LED groups. With front light optics, everything is much more complicated. First, problems with tightness. Secondly, if at least one LED from the running light strip fails, then the entire strip will stop burning. As a result, the entire headlight unit will have to be changed, about $1,000. In order to avoid high costs, you need to take care of replacing the headlamp seal in advance. The most problematic are the FSI and TFSI series engines. They use an aluminum block with a special silicone coating, an alloy of aluminum and sulfur, which quickly collapses under high temperatures. The manufacturer claimed that the resource of these power units is 250–300,000 kilometers, but in fact, in most cases, expensive engine repairs have to be done at a mileage of 140–170,000 kilometers. As a rule, the main reason is the wear of the cylinder mirror, manifested by vibrations, extraneous noise at idle, and increased oil consumption from 300 grams to 1 liter per 1,000 kilometer. Also, a failed crankcase vibration valve can affect oil consumption. TFSI engines are not famous for their long service life and turbines. In most cases, they have to be changed at a range of 150–170,000 kilometers. Another trouble that you will have to face during the operation of the car is the small resource of the ignition coils. They go up to 70,000 kilometers. It would seem that the problem is not significant, but this is unit you are given a price tag for a replacement. After 100,000 km, troubles with the timing chain tensioner are possible. If in time you do not pay attention to the diesel roar that has appeared, the consequences will be the saddest. The pistons will meet the valves. For the 3.2 engine, in addition to the tensioner, the chain may begin to stretch by 100,000 km, in which case you will have to pay about $1,500 for timing repair. For a 2.4 power unit, the Achilles heel is the damper on the intake manifold. If it knocks, you will have to pay more than $1,000 for repairs. The most reliable among gasoline engines is the 3.0 aspirator, but it is not without sin. The 3.0 engine is made according to the old technology using cast iron liners. It was installed before 2008. Thanks to this, the owners of cars with such an engine are not aware of problems with the piston. Among the shortcomings of the motor can be noted loss of tightness of the head gasket. Because of this, antifreeze enters the engine. The decrease manifests itself at a range of 130–150,000 kilometers. Of the minor troubles of all motors, one can know the failure of the thermostat, pump and catalyst on a run of 100–120,000 kilometers. Power units with direct injection FSI have an unusual sound of idling, clatter. This feature is due to the fact that the nozzles in these engines operate at the pressure of 100 bar, instead of 5 bar for similar engine with the old injection system. Diesel power units are more reliable than gasoline ones, and in most cases, 250 run without any complaints, 300,000 kilometers. The most problematic is the 2.0 engine installed on cars until 2007. It most often bothered in it: nozzles, oil pump, EGR valve. There have been cases of cracking of the cylinder block. After 2007, the manufacturer eliminated most of the defects by installing the common rail injection system. However, the engine didn't become problem-free. Over time, the high-pressure fuel pump and the particulate filter bother. When choosing a car with a 2.0 diesel engine, consider the fact that the 140 horsepower and 170 horsepower versions of the power plant have many design differences. The most important of them is that a more powerful engine uses piezoelectric injectors that cannot be restored. V6 diesel engine with a common rail injection system are equipped with a timing chain drive, which includes a group of chains, the replacement of which will cost a tidy bag. Another disadvantage of diesel engines is the small resource of the dual mass flywheel. In most cases, it has to be changed at a range of 120–150,000 kilometers. Also, after 100,000 kilometers, you will have to change the engine mount and thermostat, and closer to 200,000 kilometers, catalysts. When refueling a car with low-quality diesel fuel, the resource of fuel injectors, high-pressure fuel pumps, and the EGR valve is significantly reduced. 3 types of gearboxes were available for the Audi A6 C6, 5 and 6 speed mechanics, Tiptronic automatic transmission with manual shifting, and Multitronic CVT. The most reliable transmission is considered to be mechanics, in which even the clutch with careful operation can last 150 to 100,000 kilometers. A new one will cost around $500. There are no special comments about the automatic transmission, but only on the technical side. But electronics are characterized by malfunctions. Jerks appear when shifting gears and sharp acceleration. For lovers of active driving, on a run of 100–120,000 kilometers, the torque converter locking mechanism fail. The most problematic is the variator. The main problem lies in the wet clutch kit. It serves 100–120,000 kilometers, and with frequent loads in traffic jam, its resources reduced to 70–80,000 kilometers. Also, the culprit of the cost of 80–100,000 kilometers can serve as a transmission control unit 1000 cu and a drive chain 250–300 cu. To extend the life of the automatic transmission and the variator in them, it is necessary to change the oil every 40–60,000 kilometers. Most of the Audi A6 C6 are front-wheel drive, but often all-wheel drive cars of this model, Quattro, are also found in the secondary market. As for the reliability of this all-wheel drive system, with proper maintenance, there are no problems with it. The only thing to consider when choosing such a car is that the all-wheel drive version has a more complex suspension design. In general, the car's suspension is quite reliable, but you need to be prepared for the fact that every 100,000 kilometers you will need a lot of investment in the chassis. The upper levers are the first to give up. This happens approximately on a run of 80–90,000 kilometers. Approximately at the same run, the steering tips also need to be replaced. Wheel bearings and live 90–110,000 kilometers, change assembled with the hub. The stabilizer struts can last the same amount. Ball bearings, change assembled with the lever, and shock absorbers run 100–120,000 kilometers. Silent blocks and rubber bushings take care of 150–200,000 kilometers. The rear suspension in rare cases requires intervention up to 150,000 kilometers. The only thing that can bother in the rear suspension is the caliper guides and pad mounting brackets. They can ring when driving on uneven surfaces. An air suspension was also installed on the Audi A6 C6, but such instances are not common, and thank God, since the reviews about it are not the best. Low reliability, complex repairs, expensive spare parts. The steering is reliable and, as a rule, does not cause any particular problems, but sometimes the steering force regulator fails, which leads to a decrease in the efficiency of the hydraulic booster. Electronics is the most problematic place for the Audi A6 C6, and when you find out about the cost of repairs, uneasy. 72 control units for various systems are installed in the car. Here, for example, the seat heating control unit, its diagnostics and flushing will cost $100–150 and for the replacement of the faulty unit you will have to pay about $500. The high cost is due to difficult access to electronic components, and the replacement of any of the blocks requires prescribing in the system. Even replacing the battery is not complete without adaptation. Because of this, finding a car with a mileage of 100–120,000 kilometers in which the front panel has not been disassembled at least once or the door trim has not been removed is almost unrealistic. This is the main reason for extraneous sounds while driving on uneven road surfaces, squeaks, knocks, etc. The main source of the Audi A6 C6 electronics are multimedia system, stopped reading discs. To fix the problem you need to clean the reader, sometimes a cleaning disc helps. Due to poor contacting on the wire block, the quality of radio wave reception is deteriorating. The problem is eliminated by crimping the wires. Possible failure of the force regulator on the steering wheel. The problem is manifested by a suddenly heavier steering wheel, even at speed. The climate control system fails, heater valve stick. It is required to clean the valve block, $100–150. If the block does not help, you will have to change it, $800. Often the parking system fails. The reason is in space sensors. By 100,000 kilometers, problems with the electronic parking brake appear. The wiring is frayed, which leads to the failure of the actuators. A repair will cost $500–700. On a run of 120–140,000 kilometers, the headlight corrector block fails. If we talk about the quality of finishing materials, then they are at a high level and do not cause any complaints even after many years of operation. If you are the owner of this car model, please describe the problems that you had to face during the operation of the car. Perhaps it is your review that will help readers of our site when choosing a car.